everybody? It's JetsCentral coming back with another video, and in this one I wanted to recap the Week 6 performance between the Indianapolis Colts at the New York Jets. Okay, and the Jets walked away victorious. Another solid win by this New York Jets team. Okay, final score 42-34. Now, this is actually a really exciting game to watch, right? You saw some good and you saw some bad from the Jets. You saw some good and bad from the Colts. Really exciting, really interesting game, and although I'm not going to sit here and say that the Colts and the Jets are like a mirror image of each other, they're actually really similar. They both have their young quarterback. They both have young, up-and-coming, emerging defenses. They don't really have the weapons on the outside that, what you would want to see in like a playoff caliber team. The offensive line play is pretty much poor for both squads. And then the running game, it's a little shaky, right? It's a little bit in flux. Sometimes it's really good. Sometimes it's not, all that good. And both teams are just very, very similar. The only pretty much big difference is that Andrew Luck is in whatever year 6, I think, because he was picked in 2012, and this is Sam Darnold's rookie season. So after taking all that into consideration, going into this game, I was actually really pumped up to see how the Jets' younger players would do against the Colts' young players. And like I said, exciting as hell. It's just a great game of football. Great game of football, back and forth, back and forth. A lot of penalties. I don't really like to see a lot of penalties like that. There were some ticky-tack penalties went against both squads, but for the most part, really exciting game, really entertaining game for sure. Now, from the Jets' point of view, or from a Jets fan point of view, I should say, I think the biggest takeaway that we could kind of build upon for next week, we got the Minnesota Vikings coming to MetLife. Huge game. Okay, this is going to be the biggest test of the season so far. But I think the biggest thing that we could take away from today's performance against the Colts was Sam Darnold. Okay, Sam Darnold went out there and had another terrific performance. Okay, another terrific performance. I apologize for that. But He was completing passes. He was poised in the pocket. He was maneuvering the pocket. Okay, he was stepping up when he felt pressure. He threw the ball away a few times. He made some plays on the run. Third down, his conversion rate on third down was there. Okay, so Sam Darnold did his thing. By the way, he also bounced back from some adversity. He threw that one horrendous pick to Malik Hooker. It's just a bad read, just underthrew it, put a lot, too much air underneath the football. Hooker, a nice, young, talented player, I believe 15th overall in last year's draft out of Ohio State, comes over, makes a huge play, but Sam Darnold was able to bounce back from the adversity like he did so many times at USC, in his college days. So Darnold, I love to see the bounce back, right? I love to see him just shake off the turnover and just say, hey, let's get back to work. Let's focus back the game plan. And it didn't ruin him, right? You saw that a lot with Mark Sanchez and even Geno Smith. When something went wrong, when something just did not go as planned, whether it was a turnover, a sack, a fumble, whatever the case may be, even a penalty, it would just snowball and just get worse and worse and worse. Another interception, a worse sack, maybe a strip sack fumble, and it would just be maybe even like pointing fingers after the game. But with Sam Darnold, it looks like he could kind of roll with the punches, go through the motions throughout the game, and it's not really over until the clock hits 0. So really encouraging stuff for Sam Darnold today. Putting the ball in play, completed a lot of passes. He completed deep balls, he completed intermediate passes, as well as short passes, on top of that. So Sam Darnold, great game. I know he had the pick. I know he actually should have had another one, but it was kind of bobbled and dropped by, I believe it was Jabal Sheard. But in any case, Darnold had a terrific game. Now, the running game, too, I thought was there. We didn't have a crazy performance like last week, Isaiah Crowell. But overall, you take a look at what Bilal Powell did today, and he really, it just seemed to me like, I know I could be wrong on this, but it seemed like everybody was just falling forward. We didn't really go backwards too much. It was just everything was kind of almost like we were playing on a field that's slanted, right? It just seemed like instead of it being like a loss of 3, that loss of 3 play, normally it'd be like a loss of 3, it would just be a gain of 1. It just kind of seemed like the ball bounced in our direction. We'd catch some lucky breaks here and there throughout the game. And I just felt like we were always moving forward, right? We're just falling forward. Gain of 3, gain of 4, gain of 8, gain of 7. We were never going backwards. I mean, of course, not every single play, but you guys know what I mean. Flipping over to the defensive side of the football, I thought we looked pretty good, especially in the first half. the Frank Reich offense of the Colts, I really like it. I love the system. As a play caller, I don't really know. I haven't really watched every single snap that the Colts have had this season, so I can't judge them as a play caller. But overall, I think this Jets defense did a tremendous job neutralizing Andrew Luck, Marlon Mack, Naheem Hines, these guys in the first half. But then once the second half hit, it almost looked like instead of going to halftime and like whatever hydrating and talking to the guys, just making some adjustments and stuff, it just seemed like they almost like ran a few miles, then came back out on the field because they just seemed gassed. They seemed tired. They seemed a little bit out of sync on the defensive side of the football. And granted, the Colts were playing a lot more of a like an upbeat, up-tempo offense, shotgun pretty much every play, just throwing it all over with a nice little mixture of outside handoffs. So the Colts definitely caught the Jets off guard coming at halftime, which is a little bit of a concern, but at the end of the day, the Jets won the game, and they made the plays on defense when their names were called, right? Morris Claiborne, first drive with the pick six. That was beautiful. And then later on in the game, this is a play that I feel like was, I don't want to say it was the straw that broke the camel's back, or it was the final dagger in the coffin or anything like that of the game. But when Darren Lee had that interception, that was kind of when a lot of the pressure kind of came off my shoulders, and I sat there and said to myself, I think the Jets have this one. It's in the bag. So Darren Lee stepped up, made a huge interception. Could not be more proud. Could not be more happy, towards Darren, because I mean, this is a guy who has really been putting in a lot of work in the weight room, in the film room, and stuff throughout the whole offseason. He's had a lot of people kind of go after him on Twitter and social media and stuff like that, because he is active on those, on sites like Twitter, Instagram, and stuff. So he's had his fair share of I don't want to say haters or anything like that, but he's had his fair share of doubt and criticism, and it's really nice to see him stepping up in a huge play and pretty much icing the game for the New York Jets. So great game for the Jets, great game. A few little concerns here and there, but nothing too major. Some clock management issues with Todd Bowles, some questionable decisions like some timeouts. Why are you using a timeout, on the 1 yard line? Anyway, the point is that the Jets won the game, okay? And I can't stress out too much about the little details. I want to see them cleaned up. As far as the coaching staff goes, I want to see them cleaned up, but I doubt anything will be cleaned up because it's been, I've been complaining about, the time management stuff for like 3 years now, 3.25 years now. So I don't know. We'll see if that gets better for the Minnesota Vikings game. Excuse me, but overall, cannot wait till next week. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section about this win. How do you guys think the Jets did? What did you like? And cannot wait to get back to you guys in the comment section. And as always, go Jets.